Tomorrow, three men will stand at your doorstep. You do not know who they are, but their eyes will see straight through your soul. They are not coming to ask for money or material possessions, but for something so valuable it could change your destiny forever. And if you give it to them, everything in your life will never be the same again. If you are hearing me now, understand that this is not a coincidence. There is a message seeking you, and I want you to receive it right this moment, without delay. Tomorrow, three men will come to your home. You have never met them, never heard their names, do not know where they come from, and no one will have warned you about their arrival. But I want you to know this. They are not ordinary visitors passing by. They are messengers, sent with a mission that has been arranged in advance, a mission powerful enough to change the entire course of your life. You will not realize it immediately, but when you look back, you will see clearly that moment was a turning point. They will not arrive in dazzling appearances or carrying things meant to overwhelm you. In fact, they may look very ordinary, like anyone you might see on the street. But do not let appearances deceive you. Inside them is a message, a note vital to your journey, and the moment you open the door to them is the moment you open another door, the door to a change you never imagined. They will ask you for something, but it will not be anything you expect. Not money, not gold, not the material things this world uses to bargain or trade. They have come to seek something only you can give, something no one else can replace, something invisible, but when given can shift even the seemingly unchangeable things in your life. Tonight, as you lie down, you will not be able to escape the feeling of curiosity. Excitement, mixed with a touch of worry, will weave through every breath. You will ask yourself, who are they? What do they want? Why me? But at a deeper layer of your mind, you will realize this is not a random event. This is part of a blueprint already designed for you. Part of a story bigger than yourself, far beyond your imagination. I know how you feel right now because I have been in similar moments. When something beyond your control is approaching and you are not sure if you are ready. But listen to me, you do not need to worry. What is about to happen is not coming to destroy you. It is coming to give you an opportunity, and this opportunity will not knock twice. You could ignore it, close the door, and pretend you never heard anything. But if you do, you will never know what you missed. You will never know how the message they bring could change your life. When I tell you this is a mission arranged in advance, I am not speaking of coincidence. I am talking about a chain of events you cannot fully see. Every step you have taken, every hardship you have endured, every failure you have faced, all have been leading you to this moment. And those three men are part of that chain. They will not need many words to get your attention. Their presence will be enough for you to know this is serious. They will step into your space, carrying an energy that changes the air. You will feel that difference, like when you step outside and know the sky is about to pour rain. No one needs to tell you, you just know. I want you to imagine the moment they arrive. You are at home, doing something ordinary as any other day, maybe pouring a cup of coffee, maybe reading a book. Then comes the knock at the door, not rushed, not loud, but certain. You open the door, and there they stand, three men, ordinary to the point of being strange. No long introductions, no complicated explanations. They need only a look to let you know they have come for a clear reason, and that reason is directly connected to you. This is the point I want you to remember. Everything that happens has a cause. Their appearance is not a game of chance. It is a reminder that there are things beyond your calculations, yet precise to the smallest detail. And if you are willing to receive it, you will see how that arrangement works to lead you to a future completely different from your present. In that moment, you will no longer be a bystander. You will become part of the story. You will have to decide, open your heart or close it, receive the message or let it pass by. This is not about mere curiosity. This is about whether you are ready to place a new trust, ready to let something or someone step in and change your entire view of life. Remember, they are not coming to take anything from you. They are coming to give you a challenge not measured by strength, but by your capacity to trust. And if you are brave enough to give that trust, you will receive more than you ever thought you deserved. Tomorrow will come faster than you think. When the knock on the door comes, remember what I have just told you, because from that moment on, everything will begin to change, and you will never see the world the same way again. Tonight will be longer than any other night, not because time moves slower, but because your mind will not stop spinning with unanswered questions. You know tomorrow will be different. Something is approaching, and though you have never met or known it, you can feel its presence clearly. As night falls, every sound seems to fade. The darkness not only covers the room, but seeps into your every thought. You lie in bed but cannot fall asleep immediately. Your mind is playing a puzzle game with scattered pieces. 3 men, an unknown message, a purpose big enough to change your life. You try to guess who they are. Could they be people you once helped in the past? Could they be ones you have never met but have heard about? Or complete strangers stepping into your life like an unannounced wind? Each theory leads to new questions, then anxiety creeps in. You think, what if they bring something hard to accept? What if they come to test me in a way I do not want? This thought can easily pull you into a spiral of fear, but among that chaotic stream of thoughts, something else slips in, a strange peace, like an invisible hand resting on your shoulder, reminding you, do not fear, for I am here. I have lived long enough to understand that this feeling is not random. It is reassurance, a signal that you are not walking into this alone. Waiting is sometimes the hardest part of any journey. It is the gap between what you know and what will happen. And in that gap, you will discover much about yourself. You will see how you react when you cannot control the situation. You will realize the depth of your faith in what you cannot yet see. I have experienced such moments when I knew something important was coming, but could not yet reach it, and I understand that this waiting time is the first test. It gives you the chance to prepare, not just on the outside, but more importantly on the inside. Tonight you can choose to wait in fear or to wait in readiness. You can let your imagination become your enemy or turn it into a tool to open your heart. You can build walls around yourself or open the door to receive. It is easy to let fear take over every thought. But I want you to understand, fear never takes you where you want to go. It only holds you back, keeping you at the starting point. This waiting is your chance to focus on what you believe in. Ask yourself, what do I believe in when I do not know what lies ahead? If your answer is faith in guidance, in the meaning of all events, then you are more ready than you think. You will realize this waiting is not as still as you imagined. It is a time silently preparing you. Every emotion running through your mind, excitement, curiosity, anxiety, anticipation, is all part of the process. And when you accept them instead of resisting, you will find yourself calmer. When the clock strikes midnight, you will feel clearly one thing. Tomorrow will be a day you will always remember, not because it is loud or dramatic, but because it marks a shift in the way you see the world and yourself. You will remember the moments before it happened, the hours you sat in the dark, breathing deeply and waiting. You will remember how you faced your fears, how you convinced yourself you were ready, and you will remember that feeling, a peace mixed with excitement, like standing at the threshold of something great. This waiting, though it seems still, is shaping how you will step into tomorrow. It is training your patience, your awareness, and most importantly, your readiness to open your heart, so that when the knock on the door comes, you will no longer be surprised, but will recognize this moment. I have been waiting for a long time. And then, all worries will vanish, replaced by a resolve to step into what is coming without looking back. Tonight, as you lie in silence, there will be a moment when all chaotic thoughts suddenly slow down. And in that stillness, you will feel something like a gentle breeze pass through your soul. Unseen, untouchable, but soothing your heart. This is not an illusion, it is reassurance. A subtle yet powerful signal that you are not alone. You know, often we spend our whole lives seeking certainty, perfect plans, clear answers, carefully calculated steps. But then there are moments when everything is beyond our control, and this is one of those moments. The only thing you can do is trust. Trust that what is happening is not meant to break you, but to prepare you. Trust that even if you do not fully understand, there is an order, a meaning, and a guiding hand. I have faced such situations many times, when the future ahead was a blur, and the instinct to control everything nearly drained me. But I learned that you do not always need to know it all. Sometimes letting go and allowing what is about to happen is the only way to move forward. I want to ask you this. Are you willing to step into tomorrow with an open heart, even when you do not yet know what you will face? Are you willing to believe that what is coming is part of a journey designed to lead you to a stronger version of yourself? If your answer is yes, let me know that you are here with me right now. Leave a comment with the words, "I am ready to change," or even just the number 1. For me, it is not just a number or a phrase, but a sign that you are truly present, that you have chosen not to miss this moment. And for a content creator like me, your presence is the most precious gift. I am truly grateful for it. When you express your presence, you are doing something more important than you think. You are confirming to yourself that you are ready to step into something new, that you no longer wish to stay in the comfort zone just because it is familiar. You are sending a signal to your own life. I am ready. And the interesting thing is, once you are truly ready, everything begins to change. Opportunities appear, doors open, and even challenges, instead of discouraging you, become stepping stones for you to move forward. I know stepping into the unknown always requires courage, but I also know that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear, but moving forward anyway. And here, now, you have the chance to do that, starting with a small act affirming your readiness. Imagine tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, you know clearly you made the decision tonight. The decision to welcome what is coming, not with doubt, but with faith. The decision not to let fear lead, but to let faith guide you. This is not a big request, but it could be the beginning of a journey that changes everything. And when you are ready, you will realize that the 3 men tomorrow are not just bringing a message. They are bringing an invitation to step into a future you have never seen, but that has always been prepared for you. So, right now, I want you to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, feel your heartbeat, and if you know you are ready, leave that sign, "I am ready to change," or the number 1. That is all I need to know that you are with me in this story. And when I know you are here, I also know you will be strong enough to face whatever tomorrow brings. Community, I know, because the moment you confirm your readiness, you have already changed. That morning began like any other, yet the air carried something different, almost tangible. The sun still rose, as usual, its light still streamed through the window, but each ray seemed brighter, deeper, and infused with an unexplainable stillness. Everything in the house remained in place, yet you felt as though the entire space was waiting for something. Even the ticking of the wall clock sounded louder, as if each tick was counting down to an important moment. You went about your daily tasks, washing your face, making a cup of coffee, looking out the window. But each action you performed more slowly, more deliberately. You noticed details you would usually ignore: the steam rising from the coffee, the sound of leaves swaying in the wind, even the light reflecting on the table. Everything seemed to be reminding you that today was unlike any other. Deep inside, there was an unusual rhythm, a vague sense that not only you knew something was coming, it was as if the air, the light, and the house itself shared this secret. I know this feeling because I have experienced it before. When you stand at the threshold between 2 realities, the familiar one you have lived, and a new one opening before you but not yet fully formed. You can feel it without naming it. As you move through each room, you realize you are not just tidying or arranging things. You are preparing your space, almost instinctively. You open the windows to welcome the light, straighten the chairs, check the coffee table as if expecting guests. You may tell yourself this is just routine, but deep down, you know you are welcoming something special. The morning moves slower than usual. You are not rushing as you normally would. Each moment stretches out, as if the universe is giving you space to breathe deeply, to fully sense each second. This is not delay. It is the stillness before a shift. I want you to imagine that every detail this morning carries a message. The light does not just brighten the room, it brightens your mind, reminding you that clarity and insight will soon be needed. The wind outside is not just the sound of nature, but a reminder that things are always moving, always changing, and you're about to become part of that change. Even the rich aroma of coffee becomes an invitation to be fully present in this moment. As the clock edges closer to the time you anticipate, the feeling of waiting thickens. It is not anxiety, but like a thin mist wrapping around your mind, sharpening every detail. You notice yourself listening more, observing more, even sensing the slightest movements in the space around you. This is when you begin to realize the power of mental preparation. You are not just arranging the house for guests. You are arranging your mind to receive a message. And when you prepare your mind, everything outside seems to align with you. Perhaps you recall the reassurance you heard last night, the reminder, do not be afraid, for I am here. And right now, you start to believe it more. Because this calmness is not something you created yourself. It comes from a greater source, one you cannot control, but can trust. Every time you pass the front door, you glance at the doorknob, as if reminding yourself that soon the knock will come. You wonder, what will that moment be like? How many words will be spoken? How much will change in just a few minutes of meeting? These questions do not make you tense, they make you feel as though you are in a story where you are not a side character, but the center. As morning slides toward noon, the light begins to change. The cool of early morning yields to warmth, and you realize the time is drawing near. The space seems to narrow, everything focusing toward one point, the door before you. And when that moment comes, when the familiar sound of knocking reaches you, you will know that this entire unusual morning was no accident. It has prepared you, subtly and perfectly, to step into the next chapter, where everything will begin to change forever. The knock comes, not loud, but enough to cut through every thought. The sound is clear, deliberate, carrying a rhythm that feels intentional. You stand still for a few seconds, confirming you truly heard it. In that instant, everything around you seems to go silent. Even the ticking of the clock fades, leaving your attention fixed entirely on the door. Your hand trembles slightly as it touches the handle, not from fear, but from the realization that this is the moment you have awaited since last night. Every thought, every preparation, every strange feeling from the morning has led you here. You take a deep breath, as if to imprint every detail of this moment into memory. The doorknob is cool, but your palm is warm. You turn it gently, the door opens slightly, and the image of three men appears. They stand close together, the light behind them outlining their figures with a faint glow, giving them a look both familiar and unfamiliar. Their appearance is so ordinary that, if you saw them on the street, you might not notice. Yet there is something about them that holds your gaze, a quiet presence filled with energy. They do not rush in, they look at you, their deep eyes seeming to turn the pages of your memories. No one speaks right away, but you feel they already know everything about you, even what you have never told anyone. I have experienced meeting a stranger who seemed to know me better than I knew myself, and it is unforgettable. The silence now does not create distance, it makes the space feel closer. You tilt slightly, inviting them in. They step across the threshold slowly, as if not wanting to disturb the stillness that has settled over the house. When all three are seated, you notice your heart has calmed. No more rapid beats, but a strange steadiness. Their presence seems to carry an energy that dissolves all worry. Their eyes move not to judge, but to connect. Each look holds an unspoken question. Are you ready? And though they have not said it aloud, you feel your answer forming inside you. The moment the knock came was not just a sign of arrival, it was a turning point. Before this, everything was prediction, imagination, and waiting. Now, it is real. You are no longer in about to, you are in right now. And right now is always the most important time because it demands your full presence. You realize you are sitting before three people you have never met, yet you feel no distance. Perhaps because you know, deep inside, they are not here by chance. There is an invisible thread connecting you to them, drawing you closer to what you are about to hear. That feeling is not something everyone experiences, but if you have, you know how powerful it is. When a destined moment arrives, it carries an energy you cannot mistake. You will remember every detail, the knock just loud enough to hear but not urging, the dim light reflecting on the doorknob, the three men waiting, their eyes steady but without pressure. You will remember how they stepped in, slow but certain, as if they knew they were in the right place at the right time, and you will remember how you felt, no longer just the one waiting, but part of the story. The knock lasted only seconds, but its meaning will stay with you for a long time, because it not only woke you from daily concerns, but awakened a part deep within you, the part that still believes in what cannot be seen but can be felt. From this moment, you know you cannot go back. You have opened the door, and with it, you have opened the possibility for something entirely new to enter your life. Sometimes one knock is enough to change everything. The room is so quiet you can hear your own breathing. The three men sit across from you, their eyes unhurried, uncritical, yet holding a deep understanding. The silence lasts only a few seconds, but enough for you to sense they need no long introductions. Their very presence is a message. Then the man on the left leans toward you. His voice is deep and warm, sounding as if prepared long ago, yet natural, like an old friend sharing something important. We were sent by the one who knows your heart. The words instantly touch the deepest place in your mind. Not a usual greeting, not a self-introduction. It is like a key, unlocking you from caution into an unexplainable trust. He continues, "We have not come to ask for gold, silver, or anything you can hold in your hand. We have come to ask for something far more valuable." You sit in silence, your mind scanning possibilities. More valuable than gold or silver? What could it be? Time? Knowledge? A promise? Or something of the spirit, invisible yet essential? No one answers the question in your mind. They leave the silence there for you to reflect. I understand this approach. Sometimes the power is not in giving answers right away, but in asking a question that forces the listener to search within. And when you search within, what you find is often stronger than anything someone else could tell you. The second man, sitting in the middle, smiles faintly. Not a hollow reassurance, but a confirmation that you are thinking along the right path. He speaks slowly. What we seek cannot be bought or sold. It is a gift only you can give. The words are sharp and clear, like cutting through the fog in your thoughts. Cannot be bought, cannot be sold. Only you can give. Suddenly all the material things, the achievements, the titles you once thought important, shrink, because what they speak of does not belong to the world of transactions. It belongs to a deeper layer, the layer of trust, connection, and values beyond measure. Now, the third man on the right leans toward you. His eyes are gentle but weighty. He says, "We ask for your trust." Those three words ring out, and you feel they are spoken not just with the mouth, but with the energy surrounding them. Trust. A simple word, yet you know it is not simple to give. In the past, you have trusted and been hurt. You have built trust only to see it crumble. You once thought you would guard it closely, even lock it away, but now, hearing them, you realize trust is not meant to be held in fear of losing. Trust truly lives only when it is given, when placed in something or someone beyond your control. I know this feeling well, having had to place my trust in the uncertain, in plans with no guaranteed outcome. And those moments of trust have led me to the greatest turning points of my life. When they ask for your trust, they are not asking for something small. They are inviting you into a journey, one where you must accept that you cannot see the whole path, yet choose to walk it. You must believe in guidance, in the purpose behind every event, even when they do not unfold as you expect. In that moment, the room changes. It is no longer the ordinary space where you live. It becomes a place where the visible and invisible meet. You can feel the weight of each word, as if they have traveled through time and distance to reach you here now. The silence after is not empty, it is part of the message. They let you sit with it, giving the words time to sink deep. You begin to understand that sometimes what matters is not the amount of information you receive, but the quality of the connection it creates. And here that connection is forming, slowly, in silence, in glances, and in brief words, strong enough to stir something within you. You do not rush to answer. You know that when the time comes, your answer will not be just yes or no. It will be a commitment, an opening of your heart, and a choice to step into the unknown with all the trust you can gather. Then you lift your head, look straight at them, and realize this moment is the beginning of a story you will carry for the rest of your life. You remain seated, silent, as the words "we ask for your trust" still echo in your mind. The word trust is so simple that anyone could say it, yet when spoken in this context, you feel its unusual weight. It is not merely an abstract concept, but a profound request, as if they are touching the very core of you. The man in the middle, with a faint smile but steady eyes, continues, "What we seek cannot be measured, cannot be bought, and cannot be sold. It is a gift that only you can give, and only when you are truly ready." That statement makes you pause. You begin to ask yourself, why me? Why is this gift so important? And then, as if reading your thoughts, the man on the left slowly says, because trust is not something that can be forced. It must be given willingly from an open heart. It is the only thing that makes every plan, every promise, every dream come alive. I know this feeling because in building great projects, I have also had to place my trust in people and ideas that no one dared to believe in at first. And it was in giving that trust that possibilities I could not have imagined before were opened. Trust is like a seed. When you hold it in your hand, it can do nothing but exist. But when you give it away, like planting it into the soil, it begins to have a chance to sprout, grow, and bear fruit. What is special is that the result of planting it not only affects the receiver, but also changes the giver. The third man leans toward you, his voice warm yet powerful. When you give trust, you are declaring that you believe in a better future, even when you cannot yet see it. You are allowing something greater than yourself to work in your life. You realize that this gift is not about material things, nor about what others can give back to you. It lies in the act of accepting risk, the act of opening your heart to embrace the unknown, and within that act is a power few dare to touch. You recall moments in your life when you have given trust to someone or something. Sometimes the result was joy and deep connection. Sometimes it brought pain, even loss. But looking back, you understand that with each act of giving trust, regardless of the outcome, you became stronger, more certain about yourself. I have learned that the true value of this gift is not in what the receiver does with it, but in your willingness to give it. Because giving trust means you have overcome the protective walls built after past wounds. It is proof that your heart is still alive, still believes, and is still ready for new things. The man in the middle continues, his voice slow as if he wants each word to etch deeply into you. No one else can give this gift on your behalf. No one can force you into this decision. It only has value when it comes from you, from a free choice. At that moment, you understand this is not a request to take something from you. It is an invitation for you to join a journey, a process of transformation that begins within. They are not seeking control. They are seeking cooperation. And that cooperation can only begin when you willingly give your trust. That moment makes you realize something else. Sometimes the priceless gift is not in what we can hold on to, but in what we dare to let go of. Letting go to give others the chance to prove themselves, to fulfill their mission. Letting go to free yourself from fear and doubt. Letting go to create a space where something new can enter. I have witnessed the power of this act many times, not only in business or creativity, but also in relationships and personal decisions. Trust, when given in the right place, can change the entire course of a person, a project, even a community. And hearing these three men speak, you know what they are proposing is not just an agreement between them and you. It is an agreement between you and your own journey. You can refuse. You can hold on to your trust, guard it like a precious possession, untouchable by anyone. But in doing so, you also block the flow of new possibilities. Or you can give it, to see what happens when you allow yourself to step into a larger story. The three men remain seated, without urging, without pressure. They give you space to feel, to think, to consider, because they know, and you are beginning to know, that this priceless gift only truly matters when it is given from a completely willing heart. And in that silence, you feel clearly that this decision, though simple in form, carries the weight of an entire turning point in your life. You sit there, letting the word trust settle into layers of thought, as if it is finding its way to the deepest part of your soul. The quieter it becomes, the more you realize its weight is not in length or eloquence, but in the depth it evokes. Trust. Two simple syllables, yet they hold stories as long as an entire lifetime. Trust is not something that suddenly appears. It is formed from experiences, forged through challenges, and sometimes chipped away by wounds you never thought you would bear. You know this because you have lived it. There were times when your trust was so strong you thought it could never be shaken. You trusted people, promises, and outcomes you longed for. But reality does not always align with expectations. That trust was tested, sometimes betrayed, leaving within you an emptiness not easily filled. I understand this because I too had to learn to trust again after everything fell apart. Believing in what is unseen requires accepting that you may be hurt at times. Yet it is also a rare strength, because only when you dare to trust can you dare to step into uncharted territory. At its deepest essence, trust is a choice. You cannot prove it with absolute reason. You cannot measure it like a tangible object. You can only decide to give it, and in doing so, you are placing a part of your future into the hands of what you believe in. That is why, when these three men say they ask for your trust, they are not asking for something small. They are inviting you into an invisible, yet profoundly real commitment. A commitment that you will keep walking even when the road ahead is unclear. A commitment that you will not let fear dictate every decision. Sitting before them, you suddenly recall moments when trust guided your way. Perhaps it was when you started a new job without knowing the outcome, yet it opened great opportunities. Perhaps it was when you bet on an idea others thought was crazy, but it became a turning point that changed everything. Or perhaps it was when you believed in someone, and that belief helped them achieve something they themselves thought impossible. I have lived with trust as an inseparable part of my decision-making. In every project, from technology to space to energy, there have been times when data was insufficient and analysis could not give a certain answer. In those moments, trust in the vision, the team, and the value of the goal was the only thing that kept me moving forward. Trust is not blind. It is not rushing forward without thought. True trust is built on understanding, experience, and intuition honed over time. It allows you to act in less than perfect conditions, yet still stay on course. You begin to realize that in this context, trust is not just a feeling. It is a source of energy. It creates the drive to act, sustains endurance when facing challenges, and nurtures patience when results do not come immediately. Trust is also what connects you to something greater than yourself, a purpose, a mission, or a plan set in motion long before you could see it. The man in the middle with steady eyes says, "When you give trust, you are placing yourself into the flow of a story whose ending you do not yet know. But it is precisely that uncertainty that makes the journey alive. You understand you are standing at an important crossroads. Not everyone gets the chance to be asked to give trust consciously like this. Most of the time, we give it unconsciously, only to realize, too late. But today you can choose. Choose to keep it, continuing on the familiar road, safe but limited, or choose to give it, stepping into a new journey, where every step will be guided not just by reason, but by a deeper inner force. Trust can be hurt, but it can also heal. When you dare to trust again after loss, you are proving to yourself that your heart has never stopped beating for good things. You are showing that you will not let the past bind the future. Above all, you are opening the possibility for extraordinary things to happen. As you sit there, facing the three men, you understand what they are asking is not just a yes. They are inviting you into a new way of living where trust is not just a word but a compass. And the moment you accept, even without speaking, you already feel a part of yourself begin to shift. Because trust, once awakened, will never let you return to who you were before. The man on the left leans slightly, his eyes slowly searching into yours, as if wanting to ensure that the next words will not only reach your ears, but also be imprinted in your mind. His voice is deep and clear, carrying the rhythm of someone who has witnessed many human stories. We know your life has not always been easy. We know you've walked roads where every step felt heavy. There were days you wondered if God had forgotten you. There were nights you lay there, staring into the vast darkness and thinking, "Am I on the wrong path?" He pauses, not to breathe, but to let your memories rise again. You recall moments when you stood between choice and loss, between hope and despair, times when you felt that just one more blow would completely break you. Then the man continues, each word heavy like metal, yet warm like morning sunlight. "But I want you to know, he has never left you, not for a single second. He has seen every tear you hid from others. He has heard every prayer you thought no one was listening to. He knows every desire in your heart, even when you have not spoken it. I understand this feeling because I have stood at the edge of exhaustion and surrender, only to realize that unseen forces were still quietly holding me up, not in grand shouts, but in silent, steady moments, as if someone was saying, "Keep going, I am still here." The second man, in the middle, nods slowly and continues. "The path you walk may be filled with stones, but you are not walking alone. There are stretches so dark you cannot see ahead, yet he is still guiding you. You do not need to see the whole map, only trust that each of your steps is being placed exactly where it should be. He is your strength when you are weak, your shield when you are attacked, and your refuge when storms come." You sit still, feeling something entirely different. Their words are not like motivational phrases you have heard elsewhere. They are not hollow. They feel like confirmation of what you have silently felt but never dared be certain of, that you truly have never been alone. I have seen many succeed or fail not because of skill, but because they forgot this truth. When you believe you must carry the world alone, you will burn out. But when you realize there is always a greater force walking with you, you can go much farther than you imagined. The man on the right, silent until now, finally speaks. His voice lowers, but resonates deeper than any before. "We are here to remind you that trust is not only for sunny days. It is needed most in the dark nights and foggy mornings. Do not measure his presence by your feelings. Even when you cannot sense it, he is still there, working quietly for your good." This makes you shiver slightly. How many times have you used fleeting emotions to conclude that you were abandoned? How many times have you forgotten that silence does not equal absence? The man pauses, his eyes never leaving yours. "We are not here to change your past. We are here to remind you to look at it with different eyes. What you call loss may sometimes be the very way you were saved. What you call failure may sometimes be the step that led you to the right path." I nod in my mind because this is truer than many realize. In work, I have seen failures that seemed final become the springboard for the greatest breakthroughs. In life, I have seen personal losses lead to opportunities no one expected. When you change your perspective, you change your entire story. In this moment, you realize that the reminder they bring is not just comfort. It is an invitation to redefine what you have been through, to stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start seeing yourself as someone prepared for something greater. The three men need say no more. The room is already full with their presence and the weight of every word. You feel as though you have just been pulled out of a fog you've been in for too long. And in this moment, you understand this reminder is not something to hear once and forget. It must be engraved, so that whenever you face challenges, you will remember, you have never and will never walk alone. The man in the middle gently leans toward you, his voice deep yet steady, speaking in a rhythm that seems to match your heartbeat. The road you are on may not be smooth. There will be unexpected turns, slopes that make your knees ache, and dark stretches that block your view, but you are not walking alone. These words are not empty comfort. They sound like an undeniable truth, something that existed long before you realized it. You sit in silence, noting the way he pauses, as if to make sure you truly hear the meaning behind each word. When you cannot see the path, it does not mean there is no path. When you cannot hear footsteps beside you, it does not mean you are alone. He is there every step, even when you cannot feel him. I understand this deeply. In the most difficult times of my career, I have faced gaps that no plan could fill. In those moments, the only thing that kept me going was not data or strategy, but a firm belief that I was not alone on the journey. That belief did not come from physical proof, but from looking back and realizing that somehow I had always been guided through every dead-end turn. The man on the left continues, his voice warm like fire on a winter night. He is your strength when you are weak, your shield when you are attacked, your refuge when the storm comes. You are not meant to hold everything up by yourself. This accompanying strength does not just protect you from harm, it leads you to places you never thought you could reach. You feel his words like a warm breath seeping into the darkest corners of your soul. You once thought you had to carry everything on your own, that relying on others was a sign of weakness. But now you realize there are strengths that walk with you, not to take over your burden, but to help you stand firmer, walk farther. The third man, silent until now, places his hand on the table, his eyes fixed straight on you. Do not mistake his silence for absence. Sometimes, in the silence, he is working the most for you. Accompanying strength is not always loud. but it is always present. You immediately understand what he means. In difficult moments, people often expect clear signs, instant answers, but sometimes silence is part of the plan, to teach you to listen more deeply, to grow, and to prepare for the next step. I recall the times I had to wait, when results did not come immediately. Looking back, I realize it was precisely those waiting periods that shaped my resilience and adaptability. Without that accompanying strength, I could not have crossed the most turbulent stretches. In this room, as they speak of this strength, you feel it not just as a spiritual concept, but as a tangible reality before you. The air feels more solid, as if the walls around you have grown thicker, as if each breath you take is infused with energy from a deep source. You begin to picture accompanying strength as an invisible cable linking you to a firm anchor. No matter how hard the storm blows, it keeps you from being swept away. No matter how steep the road, it helps you pull yourself upward. And the important thing is, this cable never frays or breaks, because it is not woven from material, but from faithfulness and unchanging love. The man in the middle looks straight at you, his voice firm. There will be times you feel exhausted, ready to stop, but remember, you were not called to run alone. His strength is the energy source for you, so that every time you think you have nothing left, you can still keep going. You feel his words as a commitment, not from them, but from the one who sent them. A commitment that this journey will never become a solitary one. In that moment, you realize accompanying strength not only helps you overcome challenges, it helps you see the world and yourself differently. You begin to notice its traces in the past, times you thought you had collapsed, but someone or something lifted you up. Situations that seemed hopeless, but eventually opened into opportunity. And when you connect those traces, you realize one thing: you have never truly walked alone. That realization brings not just comfort, but a different kind of courage. The courage to step into the next part of the journey with new faith. Faith that no matter what lies ahead, you will always have this strength beside you. And with it, no peak is too far, no valley too deep, and no challenge impossible to overcome. You sit there in silence, letting the words you just heard flow through your mind like a deep, warm current. The feeling now is entirely different from the moment you opened the door. Back then, you carried curiosity mixed with a hint of caution. Now, in this space, among three men who have just given you words of great weight, something has changed. It is not loud, not explosive, but clear and certain. A new faith is taking shape. The man on the right, who has kept his gaze locked on you from the start, leans forward slightly. His voice is deep and soft, yet with a pull that makes you want to hear every word. Do not fear what lies ahead. He has a plan for you, not to harm you, but to prosper you. This plan will give you hope and a future. You feel his words open a door inside you. For so long you have lived and acted based on what you could see, on logic and measurable numbers. But now, there is an invitation to believe in something greater, a blueprint you have never held in your hands, but that is quietly at work. I know this feeling well, for many times in my life, especially when starting projects that seemed impossible. I did not have all the answers, but it was belief in the goal, in the meaning of what I was doing, that carried me through every stage where data could not guarantee the outcome. The man on the left speaks gently, as if to connect your train of thought to reality. Trust his timing, even when it does not match the schedule you expect. Trust his path, even when it does not look like the route you mapped out. And trust his love, even when everything around you makes that hard to believe. These words bring you back to memories of times when things did not go as planned. You remember failures that made you doubt yourself, long waits you thought were meaningless. But looking back, each delay, each detour brought you to a better place, even though you could not see it at the time. The man in the middle, who has spoken several times, but always with calmness, places both hands on the table and says, "This new faith is not something you keep in your heart just to feel comforted. It is a power to act. It will change how you see the world, how you face difficulties, and how you use each day of your life." You realize this new faith is not simply a continuation of what you once believed. It is a rebuilding. It does not come to patch the broken pieces of old faith, but to establish an entirely new foundation, one stronger, not dependent on whether things go your way, but on the certainty that a greater force is steering the wheel. I know the value of such faith. It is not a fleeting emotion, but a new operating system for your entire decision-making and action. When you have it, you are no longer swayed by external fluctuations, by doubts or pressures from others. You operate from the inside out rather than the outside in. In this moment, as you look at the three men, you realize they have not come to give you detailed answers about the future. They have come to give you something far more valuable, a new faith strong enough for you to step into the future without knowing all the details. The room falls silent again, but now the silence is no longer empty. It is filled with a new kind of energy. You feel your heart beat steady, yet each beat seems to carry more strength. You are not just hearing these words, you are owning them. The new faith has found its place inside you, and, from this moment on, you will never see the world with the same eyes again. They stand up almost at the same time, without warning, but you know the meeting has reached its close. The air in the room feels different, not empty, but covered with a deep quietness. You sense clearly they did not come to stay long. They came to give you what needed to be given, and once that purpose was fulfilled, they would leave. The man on the left looks straight at you, his eyes carrying an unshakable certainty. He speaks slowly but firmly. Remember, we came to ask for your trust. Hold it tightly. No matter what happens, do not let go. Believe in the love, believe in the promise, and believe in the plan prepared for you. These words are not mere instructions. They sound like a covenant, a red thread connecting you to this moment forever. The man in the middle nods lightly, as if to affirm that everything you have just heard and felt is real, not an illusion or imagination. He adds no words, but his eyes convey a clear message. You have what you need. The man on the right, who spoke to you about trust and the future, smiles faintly. It is not a farewell smile, but the smile of someone certain this meeting will leave an indelible mark. He simply places his hand on your shoulder, a light but warm touch, and withdraws it. No one says goodbye. They just turn and walk toward the door. Their footsteps sound softly against the floor, each step measured, neither rushed nor hesitant. As they reach the threshold, you feel time slow down. Light from outside spills in, wrapping them in a faint glow. You stand there, unsure whether you should say something or if you even need to, because you understand that everything needing to be said has been said. The door opens and they step outside. A light breeze drifts in, carrying a feeling both refreshing and elusive. You want to ask where they are going, to know when you might meet again, but before the questions can take shape, they are out of sight. No sound of an engine starting, no footsteps fading away. They disappear quietly, as if they had never come. Yet the mark they leave is far too clear to deny. You stand there a moment longer, your eyes still on the open doorway. The scene outside is completely ordinary. The familiar road, the trees swaying in the wind, sunlight spilling evenly. But to you, everything is different. The house feels larger, not because they have left, but because the space is now filled with a new lightness. You feel yourself breathing deeper, your steps steadier, and most importantly, your heart no longer heavy as before. I know this moment well, for I too have experienced the departure of those who left a deep imprint on me. It is not loss, but a passing of responsibility. As if they say, now it is your part. We have passed the torch, and you will carry it forward. You close the door, yet you do not feel you have closed anything off. On the contrary, you feel you have opened something greater, a journey you will continue, no longer waiting for someone to bring answers, but actively finding them within yourself. Their leaving does not leave emptiness, but an invitation to live with a new faith, applying it to every decision, every step, every moment ahead. When you return to the room, everything is still in its place, yet the feeling is different. The chair they sat in, the table where you listened, that space still seems to hold the resonance of the conversation. You realize that even though they are no longer here, their presence will never completely fade. They have given you a part of themselves, their words, their eyes, their trust. And you carry it with you from now on. You know, there will be moments on this new journey when you will remember the moment they left, not to feel regret, but to remind yourself that those who bring real change do not always stay forever. They come, give what must be given, and then leave, so you have the space and the reason to step into a new level. And you understand, deep in your heart, that this is not a full stop, but a comma, opening the next chapter of the story. The house returns to its usual quiet, but the atmosphere is no longer the same. You still sit there, your eyes fixed on the empty space ahead, as if you can still see the image of the three men who just left. Everything happened faster than you expected, yet each moment imprinted so deeply that it felt as if time had slowed throughout the entire meeting. You let your mind drift along the newly formed memory, the decisive knock on the door, the piercing eyes, the words spoken with the weight of truth, and finally the gentle departure without a single goodbye. Now, without their physical presence, you see more clearly what they left behind. It is not an object, nor a list of tasks to complete. What they gave you was an internal transformation, from confusion to clarity, from doubt to trust, from waiting to action. I understand this, because I too have had encounters that, once over, left me changed forever. Those meetings did not hand me all the answers, but they placed in my hands a new map, a new compass, and most importantly, a new faith to walk forward. You begin to reflect on the trust they asked for. At first, it seemed abstract, even vague. But as you sit here, you realize trust is not something you merely keep in your heart for comfort. It is an active choice, a continuous act. Each day, you will need to choose to believe in what you cannot see, in a plan you cannot control, and in a love you cannot measure by reason. You recall their reminders that He has always been there, even when you could not feel Him. This makes you think of difficult seasons in your life when you believed you were completely alone. And now looking back, you see clear signs you once overlooked. An unexpected opportunity arriving at the perfect moment. A person showing up to help when you needed it most. Or a door closing only to lead you to a better one. Those memories make you realize even more deeply that trust is not a fleeting feeling, it is a way of living. A new lens for viewing everything around you. When you choose to trust, you also choose how to interpret the events in your life. You can see them as random or as purposeful arrangements. The new trust you have received today is pulling you toward the second choice. I know well the power of seeing life that way. When you believe everything has a reason, you approach problems with more calm, looking for opportunities instead of just obstacles. You act with a steadiness that those without trust cannot easily maintain. You also realize that trust is inseparable from action. Trust is not sitting still, waiting for a miracle. It is moving forward, even when you cannot see the whole road, investing your time, effort, and heart into things without guarantees. Thinking this, you feel a different kind of energy starting to form within you. It is not a fleeting excitement, but a quiet, steady determination. You want to live in a way that honors today's meeting, ensuring what they gave you is not wasted. You want to turn their words into reality in how you live, work, and face every situation. You stand, walking around the room as if to feel again each place they had sat. The chair on the left still seems to hold the warmth, as if that man had just risen. The table in the center still carries the image of the firm hand of the second man. And the corner where the man on the right sat still seems to contain the resonance of the voice that opened a new future for you. Everything in this space becomes markers of a beginning. You understand this meeting will continue to live in your memory, not just as a simple recollection, but as a constant reminder. Whenever you face a challenge, you will recall their eyes, their voices, and the promise that you are never alone. You realize that reflection is not simply sitting still and reminiscing. It is preparation. It is how you integrate what you have received into your belief system so that from now on, every action will be guided by what is new. In this moment, you are no longer the one waiting for the knock as you were yesterday. You have become the one carrying the torch of a message, ready to move forward with its light. And you know that as time passes, this very light will guide not only you, but perhaps those you meet along your own journey. You sit in the quiet room, but deep within another sound rises. Not the wind outside the window, not the ticking of the clock. It is a warm, clear voice, as if it does not pass through your ears, but goes straight into your mind. The voice speaks with such closeness that you do not need to ask who it is. You know instantly. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Each word is like a heartbeat, strong and resolute. I am your strength when you are weak, your light when you are lost, and your wall of protection when you are attacked. You close your eyes, letting each word sink in like cool water flowing over dry ground. The voice continues, unhurried, as if wanting you to engrave every syllable. In the days you doubt yourself, I still believe in you. In the nights you think you have been abandoned, I am still right beside you. I see every tear you swallow in silence. I hear every word you whisper to no one. I know every dream you hide for fear of ridicule. And I tell you, not one of those has gone unnoticed. I understand this feeling because I have lived moments where every outward support disappeared, leaving only stillness. In those times, the only thing that kept me from falling was the certainty that there is one who sees and knows everything, even when no one else cares. Life will bring you challenges, paths you think you do not have the strength to walk. But remember, the strength to overcome has never come from you alone. I will hold you up with my strong arm. You will not fall, even in the fiercest storm. I will lead you through, not to avoid every storm, but to teach you how to walk through it and still stand. Those words flow through you like a steady current.